One of the most formidable empires in history is the Zulus, not only because they existed in modern times, but because they were a formidable enemy of the Europeans. They actually won a couple battles against them, even though they had only a few muskets and a bunch of spears and well formed tactics. Now, one of the things that connects the Zulus to other people in the world is that they're Bantu. Now, there is a dictionary from the 1600s that connects the Zulus to the people of Congo, Mbanza, Congo. The word Mbanza, according to the dictionary from the Kingdom of Congo, means city or metropolis, as you can see in the dictionary. This word is connected to the Kitumba tribes. As you can see today, it still means this word. But is this language connected to Zulu? How connected is it? Can we find any similarities between words in between of these languages? Now remember, the Zulus had been around in southern Africa for thousands of years, way before they had time or way before the kingdom of Congo ever existed. And so this tells you how dormant languages stay within the people, even though they have separations of thousands of years, dictionaries that were built almost at the same time. So, for example, this one is from the 1600s, the one in the Kingdom of Congo. And then the earliest we can find in the Zulu Kingdom is from the 1800s. Now, this is important because it will separate what was picked up from foreigners and what is built in to the Bantu people itself. So let's look at a specific word. In fact, let's start with a very easy word, the word Zulu. Is that a modern word or is that an ancient word? Now, I'm sure I don't have to explain this to anybody, but I might as well. Obviously, the word Zulu means sky in the Nguni languages, which is fine, but remember, this is part of the greater Bantu words. So, for example, we can see here celestis, which is celestial, in the Italian language is Kwezulu or Yezulu. That means of the celestial, of the stars and stuff in the sky. And as you can see, the word caelum, which means sky in Latin, because this dictionary is in Latin, Spanish, and Congolese, you can see there caelum, meaning Ezulu or Mazulu. There we go. So the word Zulu is pretty old in the language. But not only that, the word Zulu also can mean up, because of course the sky is up. And you can see here, it usually denotes size. You can see there Mayor Natu or Mayor Rosgo in Spanish. This is a great mayor or a great chief. And you can see there it's Ezulunkulu. Interestingly, the word Nkulu also means big in the Bantu languages, and Zulu Nkulu also means big. So Mwana is Zulu Nkulu. That means the mayor or the big chief. So that's just an easy introduction, an easy, like, okay, let's understand the similarities between the languages. So, how about something a little more complicated, something that might mean something bigger to the whole system? For example, remember the word wakati in Swahili means time, right? And the word waqt in Arabic meant time. And the word kati in Zulu means time. Well, what if the 1600th dictionary, which first, let me preface this, these people had never met the Arabs. The only foreigners they had met were the Portuguese. And so you can see if we look at the dictionary, that elequando or an allegum tiempo, the this moment, you see there mukatandu onzo, meaning this moment, and you will see that the word katandu, kati, katandu, will come up over and over again. And here are some examples. So you see the first one, elecandu, un poco de tiempo, catando fiole. So un poco de tiempo is a little bit of time. You see there, the word catando is still there, catando fiole, catando caluelo, catando de fiole. And then you have el cuando and alagum tiempo, mo catando onzo. And then we will see in the other example here where it says momentum, un instant de tiempo, catando caluelo. Over and over again, you see this wakati, wakt, kati, katandu. But these languages, this is not Afro-Asiatic. Zulu is definitely not Afro-Asiatic. And the Swahili is, for lack of a better phrasing, they say that the word wakati in Swahili comes from Arabic, but maybe it's the opposite way around. Maybe the word waqt in Arabic comes from Swahili. To drive the point home, I'll give a few examples of the same word. So we look here, octinium, which is espacio de 8 años, uh, a space of 8 years. Gadandu Gamio Inana. Gadandu, time, ga, of, mu, years, Inana, 8. Octodum, espacio de 8 días. Gotanda ga ilumbu Inana, time of days, 8. 8 days. And you can see there with octus, where it says ocho veces nchumbu inana. See, inana means 8. Octi ngenta lunana, 8. So you can see katandu has to do with time. And you can see here, instance, katandu kaluelo, or mula oanze, but the first one, katandu kalelo, instance. And then the second one is distantia katandu. Now I want to remind you of that one that said espacio de 8 días and años. The word time and space are interchangeable in Zulu, and I will show you, but the word time and space are interchangeable. So it feels like the word time should have come from somewhere else, but the fact that it has a limited usage in other languages, but in these two languages, Zulu and Congolese, it has double meanings, which is space and time. And not only that, it might even come from the word sun. Another example, duratio, which of course that's duration. Obviously, there's two versions, Luzinguli and Katandu. Yet again, another example that it just straightforward has to do with time. Now, we could just chalk it off and go, okay, that's fine. That happened for that. But I will show you that it even has a variant. Now, if you look there, Kintandu, now the Kikongo dialect called Kitandu is the one that we are about to read right now. As you can see there, Kitandu, Kintandu, Kikongo dialect of Upper Congo. But you can see right under it, it's Ntangu. This is a variant of this word, kitangu, which meant time. And you can see there, sun, moment, time. And you even see a version of this word again in the same language in Kitandu. So now we've got three languages with this in their origin or somewhere in their history. So we've got Swahili, we've got Zulu, and we've got Congolese that have this word that happens to match up with the Arabic. But can we find another one? Well, if we look at Angola, for example, and we look at words like talama, which means stop, having to do with time, talamena, which means wait, talula, which means pass time pleasantly. We can see that this word, the kati part, and it comes with variants. This is a variant of it. We can see is all over the Bantu languages, and it comes in variants. That's the most important part. The fact that it's not a singular word, because if it's a singular word stolen from another language, it's always going to look the same. Just like other words that you find in Bantu languages that are taken from other languages, they just look the same forever because they have nothing to do with the grammar of the language. And of course, you're wondering why the words keep flying around. I've shown you this before. This happens in Afro-Asiatic and Bantu languages. The way you speak changes it. So, for example, in Zulu, you can say isikati. So the word kati is the root word. You can say iskati, but you can also say umkati. And you can also say other ways as well, which is going to change how the word is said. If we compare the Mbundu language to the Zulu language side by side, you can see what I mean. So, for example, Talama means stop, and you can see here, Katala means be wary or take trouble about a thing, or weariness or fatigue. So it has to do with being exhausted because of time. Remember the word kati is time. Katala means to be worn off by time, in time. And then obviously the weariness starts to have its own variant as a word, kataza, katala, but it all had to do with this kata word. And you can see there talama, uh, talamela, await, talula, all of them, they have to do with time, you can tell. Now, we look at the other part of this word, you can see kati in Zulu means time. But remember that the other word in the Congolese also meant space. So the word katanda also meant space. And you can see here we have kati right at the bottom. If you go right to the bottom, vacancy, empty space between earth and the heaven, firmament, interval of time or distance expressed in English by while or way as below. So umkati wonke lokade wenzani na. Umkati wonke lokwade lenzani na. So you can see here time and kati, this word is interchangeable between time and space. But if the word space is the word for this, then we should see that as well in the Congolese language. And as you can see here, tractus, which means space in Latin, or trecho or spacia, the algun laga, meaning the stretching of space of some kind of place. So the space, some kind of space. And then you look here, gataminucha, gataminucha right there. Now, obviously, because it's Bantu, it's changed a little bit. The end, instead of Katanda, it's Kataminucha. What does this mean? That tells you that the root word is the Kati part in the beginning. Kwati, Kwata. You can see there, it's Quita. because the rest of it changes. And you can see here in tractum, di trecho en trecho, cataminucha, ea cataminucha, kotoka, mokataminuka. Again, it's coming at us at multiple angles. It's the word is coming at us at multiple angles. And so by this time, I hope all of you have confirmed that this is definitely the same word. And so now let us look at what some of the experts are saying the word comes from so that we can see if we see this much evidence for this word in all of these other languages, in all of them, why are they saying what they're saying? So you can see there, the experts say that the word probably comes from the word wakati from Swahili and then transferred to Arabic from Arabic, waqt. But they say the word waqt from Arabic comes from an Indo European word which they reconstruct, not a real word that they know of, one that they've reconstructed. And they say that the word is something like WQT and is suggested to be borrowed from Iranian, from Proto Indo European, waqt, meaning whacked, 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 obviously in Moroccan and a lot of Arabic languages, because obviously Arabic, there's multiple Arabic. And then you can see a similar feature that I was talking about. If you look at wakata, right, in Arabic, but then you also look at the yaktu. You see how the words sort of flip about and the word doesn't look the same necessarily. And you notice that if you look at the bottom of the Zulu one, Kati turns to Kashan. This happens also in Zulu, like just words just start flipping, not randomly. It has to do with the grammar of the languages that, unlike English and a lot of Dutch languages and Indo-European languages, words stay the same. It's just the grammar slightly different, and you add certain. The whole word can flip, and you can almost miss the history of the word. So why then could this word not be borrowed from Arabic? Well, if we just read what the Arabic one says, well, that's the translation. So wakata, non-past, yaktu, verbal noun, waqt. And so if we read its definition to determine, define, or place or limit on a thing, especially time, to fix boundaries or duration, to set or appoint a time for something to occur, especially the falling due of an obligation. Now, if you notice, the word wakata and waktu is far more extensive in the Arabic than it is in the root word where it's like to divide. Now, if you notice, both of those words I showed you in the Bantu words, they also have this thing where they talk about the space in between something. So it's so extensive, the meaning of it, that it's not something they heard once. And keep in mind, Zulu is not Arabic. Keep that in mind. Like Zulu has not got a deep understanding of the Arabic language, and even the word wakati in Swahili isn't as deep as it then becomes in all of the languages that I've shown you. So for them, a word that they reconstructed, in other words, they took other words and reconstructed this word, and then it has nothing to do with the word time in the original Indo-European. It just means the word divide. They take that word to mean the waqt and wakati and yaktub in Arabic. So Arabic took the word divide and invented the word time and then passed it down to Swahili, one region of Africa, and then somehow magically all the Bantu languages had this word in multiple variants. not just one, meaning words like, by the way, meaning words like tired, which has got nothing to do with space or time, or even dividing, meaning words like space, meaning words like time, meaning words like expanse, firmament. All these words have all of these meanings, but somehow it came from the word divide, a word that they reconstructed. Now I know what you're thinking. Hey, the word you showed was sometimes the same and sometimes a little off. Okay, let's compare this Indo-European word. Because again, right, they say the root word is WQT, right? And I've showed you with Kati, Iskati, it doesn't have a W. The word Iskati doesn't have a W. The one in Congo doesn't have a W. It has Katandu. Only the one in Swahili has a W, Waktu. But let's go to this Indo-European word. Let's see. So the root word that they're saying that is this distribute, divide, a lot, right? The word is, let's read it so that we all know what we're looking at. This root could presumably have an A, but the short vowel of Proto-Indo-Aryan BHAGA can easily be explained by Lubinsky's law from the loss of laryngeal in front of the voice stop plus another constant. This condition would have existed, for instance, in ethematic verb forms such as B asterisk BHEGS. So this word is bachs. Let's see some examples. So here are some examples of these words. Okay, so the words are in Indo-European and they mean to divide, right? So ancient Greek, you got Baxas. In Proto-Indo-European, you got Baxas. In Sanskrit, you've got Baka, Baksaiti. In Proto-Iranian, you got Bakshas. In Avesta, you got box. Middle Persian, you got box. Box. Even the word book is thought to come from this. So let's see, carry on. Proto Iranian, Bajdi, Balj. Persian, Baz. Old Armenian, Bazi. Now, I want you to keep this in mind. This is where they say the word waqt comes from. The word wakati or wakata comes from a word they reconstructed into waqt from bakt. And then they say the Arabs took that and then went with it. Now, maybe it's because it arrived late in the Arab world, but it's quite simple to just say they just got it from the Africans. They took this word from the Africans, especially since wakati is a very African way of saying a word. Kati meaning time, wa being the prefix, just like 100 words that start with wa something. And keep in mind, this word is very physical in the language of these people. So this divide is more of a physical divide, whereas the Ikati word in Africa has more to do with a divide of a concept like time, space, even distance between two people.